يا هلا ومرحبا فيكم في حلقة جديدة من الرحلة رقم، معكم رهم حرق من آيسلندا. نعم، آيسلندا. أتوقع البعض ما يعرفوا معلومات كثيرة عن هذه البلد، ولكن هي من أكثر البلدان اللي تصدر أسماك للعالم. ولما أقول سمك تتخيلوا سمك اللي تاكلوه، صح؟ ولكن لا، جيت على هنا عشان أتعرف على دكتورة غيرت مسار بقايا السمك بطريقة الإيجابية. فتعالوا معايا عيشوا المغامرة في آيسلندا الجميلة. لما تيجوا على آيسلندا لازم تروحوا تزوروا البلو لاجون، بس نصيحة ادخلوا أونلاين وخذوا بوكينج لأنه يقدر يكون زحمة. مرة متحمسة لأن اليوم أخيراً حأنزل البلو لاجون. هذا اللاجون من أكثر الأشياء المميزة في آيسلندا، لازم تزوروها. قصتها حلوة، كان في واحد كان عنده مشاكل في الجلد، دكتوره لاحظ انه كل ما ينزل اللاجون جلده تحسن، فطبعا من وقتها صارت قصه اللاجون انه يساعدكم على your emotional and mental health وكمان على المشاكل الجلديه. مره متحمسه لانه من زمان نفسي انزل. لما تروحوا على البلو لاجون يعطوكم هذا الريستباند، في انواع مختلفه، ولكن هذا يجي مع 3 ماسكس واني من المشروبات اللي يعطيكم اياها. الماسك الأول هذا يعمل لكم سكراب، والماسك الثاني هذا يعمل لكم كلينزر. ومن ضمن الباكج 3 ماسكات وعصير. قد لاحظتوا لما تاكلوا مثلا وجبة سمك أو صحن سمك يتبقى العظم والجلد وتقولوا خلاص هذا آخر المشوار لهذه السمكة، ولكن الشخصية اللي حتكلم معاها اليوم أخذت هذا الشيء اللي هي يعتبر بقايا وسوته بطريقة غيرت مسار حياتها وطريقة إيجابية نستخدم فيها بقايا الأسماك، ومنها أشياء للجلد اللي أنا مرة متحمسة أتعرف عليها. اليوم معايا دكتور أليكسندرا حتتكلم معنا اليوم على كيف سوت بقايا السمك بطريقة sustainable. Doctor, thank you so much for having us today.
My pleasure.
I'm so excited about this topic. I have so many questions to ask you. In the beginning, can you please introduce yourself to our lovely audience?
Absolutely.
And let us know who you are.
So thank you very much for coming to visit me and for having interest in hearing about what we do here. I'm from the UK originally, but I've been living in Iceland for 6 years, and I moved here for this very topic that you mentioned, to find ways to use every part of the fish we eat, not to waste anything, and to create really wonderful things from those parts of the fish.
What inspired you to get into this? Because it's a very unique, it's a very specific study or a very specific concept.
Yeah.
This must have come from a very special place.
It's kind of been a long journey here, but I think it's had this fishy theme all the way through.
Fishy theme.
Fishy theme, exactly. So since I was a child, since I was 12 years old, I started scuba diving. So being in the ocean with my father, it was his idea. He wanted to learn and he didn't want to learn on his own. So I started to train with him how to be a diver, and I was really scared the first time that we went into the ocean. So scared, like I couldn't even breathe properly. And when we got in the water and we went down to the seabed, this instructor, he took my hand and he cut open a sea urchin, he put it in my hands, and then all these thousands of fish were eating out of my hand.
Wow.
And I was completely hooked.
I can relate. I'm from Saudi Arabia, so the Red Sea is like our backyard, and I'm also a dive master. And I remember the first time I saw the sea life. I remember that moment, so I can totally relate.
It's
okay,
magic.
So you're this young girl. You saw all of these fish eating. Mm-hmm. There was an epiphany. Mm-hmm. What was that?
I just thought this is such a beautiful world. I'm so lucky to get to see it. And then as soon as I got home, I was like, okay, fish is what I want to do. I started working when I was 14 at the weekends in the store where they have the aquariums and just being around fish. And I started to did my diving instructor. So I got the opportunity just to be in the ocean as much as possible. And I saw all these really beautiful environments. And I kept going back to the same place year after year. And these places that had been really untouched and beautiful, over the years, they started to change. There was, for example, areas in Malaysia that I went to visit and work where there was blast fishing. So there was a lot of these beautiful fish suddenly had disappeared from the reef. And also there had been coral bleaching events. Probably you've seen some of this in the Red Sea likewise.
Yes.
So I just thought,
it's so heartbreaking to see, isn't it?
It is, especially when you've grown to love a place.
And you see it dead. Yeah. It's still there, but it doesn't have the same luster.
Yeah.
So that really inspired you.
Yeah, and it made me think, okay, well, there must be things that we can do better. You know, there's so many opportunities to change things.
Okay.
So I went to study marine biology to really understand how does this work. And I actually went to go work at sea for a while. So in the oil and gas industry, which as a young woman...
That's a massive step, and I can imagine how male-dominated that is.
Sometimes I was the only woman on a crew of 60.
Absolutely imagine. How long were you on the ship?
Just over a year in that job total as an
navigator. And you were the only girl for a year?
So sometimes there were other women on board. So we would do 5 weeks on the boat and then 5 weeks on land in Brazil and in West Africa. And
5 and 5?
It was... let's say nothing will ever shock me again. Let me say this.
And then after that, what was the step?
So while I was at sea, we were right out way in the middle of the ocean, and you don't see land for weeks at a time. You're not near any human settlement. And I saw fishing nets floating in the ocean, catching turtles, catching sea life, not providing fish to anyone anymore because it was broken. And this was heartbreaking.
Death traps.
Exactly, a death trap. And I thought, okay, this is the impact that we're having when we're finding energy, we're finding food. I need to do something just for my own sense of mental peace to change this.
Okay.
So I went back to school. I thought, okay, I'm going to study the way we use our marine resources, the way that we use our ocean. How can we find food, particularly in a way that doesn't destroy this beautiful place that I've come to love for during my master's, was how we can use the waste from one industry, so the food waste from supermarkets. For example, we can feed them to insects, and then the insects we can feed to the fish.
Yeah, so it's a better cycle. Yeah. So you're using a natural cycle, but you're making it better.
Yeah.
But your passion was the reason why you came.
Yeah.
But you fell in love with the place. That's why you stayed.
Just the mountains and the fresh air. And there's a culture here that's very different. I've lived in many other countries, and the culture here, I just felt like it's a place where if I work hard, I can make an impact. Yeah. And that's very...
they care. I feel like people care.
Yeah.
I feel like genuinely people care.
And particularly about fish.
Yeah.
So it's a whole country that really the economy, the culture is all based on fish.
Yeah. Which actually brings me to something I love that you said. A happy fish is a healthy fish.
Yeah.
I love that. I never thought of it this way. But it is a cycle, and we are at the top of the food chain.
Yeah.
But respecting the wildlife, respecting the animals means that it comes back positive to us. So can you please explain to our lovely viewers, what does it mean when you say a happy fish is a healthy fish?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking, because I think this is something that's really close to my heart, and it's something that's really important. And it's all really about having this respect for the food that we eat and that we grow, but also that we as humans, as society, have a responsibility when we farm something, when we catch something, to do it in the most humane way possible.
Yeah.
And that's all part of this wider protecting the oceans, is doing things in a way that is sustainable in all its different
and
ways.
Humane.
And humane.
Another aspect of fish that a lot of people don't realize is the power it has on your skin. Yeah. The power it has. And I care a lot about my skin. I mean, I try to be athletic and outdoorsy, but I really do care, and I always read about new things.
Yeah.
And actually, one of the reasons why I was curious about Iceland was because of the amount of products they make for skincare comes from Iceland. Yeah. So can you please talk to me about that and give me your top tips in the end of skincare products?
I can say you've got lovely skin, so I don't
Thank you. Thank you so much.
But this is something that's really interesting, and that's actually the work that I've moved into now from farming fish in a sustainable way. This is still very important to me, but now I'm seeing when we take a fish, we have parts of it that we don't use, like the skin, a salmon skin or a cod skin, and they're full of just all this good stuff that, historically and in many countries we throw it to the landfill. And of course, when we throw something to landfill, it breaks down, it produces methane. This is a greenhouse gas
problem.
So it becomes an environmental problem. But if we take that instead, we can harvest all this goodness. So like with the salmon, this has a lot of fatty acids, a lot of amino acids in the skin. And for fatty acids, for skin, but also for your mental health, this is so good to have, like your omega-3 fatty acids. This is good your kind of cognition, your learning, and also your gut health, which we know more and more is connected to our mental health.
Yeah.
But also, for example, cod skin, there's a big trend now all over the world to use marine collagen. And this really...
Marine collagen.
Yeah,
okay.
Sounds really fancy.
Yeah, I love it. And it's something that you classically threw away.
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you, but I got excited.
No.
Marine collagen. And it's skin that was thrown away.
Yeah, and it's also why marketing is important in rebranding these
You're not
fish
saying
waste.
it's fish waste. You're saying it's marine collagen.
Exactly.
No, I love that.
So, and for those maybe that don't know what collagen is itself, it's a structural protein. So we know when we ingest it, not only does it give our body protein to eat, but it also is healthy for our joints. And when we put it on our skin, it can trap more moisture. It can help us with just the smoothness of our skin. And this is basically can be extracted from fish skin. So a thing that used to go in the trash, now it can go into all these wonderful and healthy beauty and nutritional.
On a personal level, you also are a very busy woman. Can you please share? You're everything. You do everything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll share a little bit. Well, maybe two things that I'd like to share.
Share as much as you like.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm also a stepmother, so I have two stepchildren. We didn't talk about that, so that's
MashaAllah, how old?
Thank you. Just turned 13 yesterday.
Wow.
And 7.
MashaAllah.
So, two Icelandic
That's a handful.
Which keeps me busy, and it's
another reason why you're in Iceland.
Oh, well, I met them afterwards. I didn't move here for my partner, but I met him.
But still staying here?
Now I stay here for this.
Absolutely.
Also. So this is
amazing.
Yeah, which is.
He's from Iceland?
He's Icelandic.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is like this life lesson. Thank you. And the other thing that keeps me busy in my personal time, I also have a business that I'm building up with a very close friend of mine called Justine from France. We're two female entrepreneurs working on a project together, and she is extremely passionate too about the environment and about climate. And she's on a leadership program herself at the moment in France called Earthship Sisters. And we are working together really to try to solve one of Iceland's biggest environmental problems, which is that 80% of our fresh fruit and veg as an island is imported. Yeah. So this has a huge carbon footprint. And so what we're doing is working with excess heat, for example, coming from data centers, to capture this excess heat that right now goes into the environment and put it into modules that can be used to produce food. And the company is called Ringvarmi.
Ringvarmi.
Oh, that's pretty good. Which in Icelandic means circular warmth.
Ringvarmi.
And it really follows the theme of everything else that I do here at Iceland Touching Cluster and in my daily life of taking something that used to be wasted and creating value from it. So
you're a sustainable queen, you know that, right?
I like the sustainability is
you're
my
a sustainable
passion.
queen. Mine as well, but I didn't study, so I'm trying to pay it forward by giving a platform to people who actually study it.
Which is much appreciated.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. I love how you found the problem and didn't just fold and say there's a problem, there's nothing else we can do. You found a problem, decided to hunt for a solution, and it led you down this incredible path. Yeah. So I commend you for that. You have inspired me immensely, and I hope you inspire our viewers as well to be more aware of how one person can make such a positive impact and how you as a consumer can change the narrative. So thank you so much for that. I'm just going to switch in Arabic very quickly. من جد ألهمتني قصتها لأنه خلتني أستوعب قد إيش الشيء اللي تاكليه أو تستخدميه ليه تأثير يقدر يكون سلبي أو إيجابي. وإحنا كشخصيات كانديفيدوالز قد إيش نقدر نغير مجتمعنا، قد إيش نقدر نغير المشكلة. هي شافت مشكلة، she saw a problem وما وقفت قدام المشكلة. she didn't just stop قدام الproblem. بالعكس شافت مشكلة وقررت إن هي تلاقي حل لهذه المشكلة. في كثير أماكن تقدروا تاكلوا فيها في ريكافيك، بس أنصحكم عشان تعيشوا الجو الأيسلندي الحقيقي تاكلوا في محل زي كده. هذا المحل اللي تلاحظوا بس لللوكلز، أنا الوحيدة اللي ماني من أيسلند موجودة هنا. اللي حلو فيه إنه أسعارهم مرة حلوة. الباكج عبارة عن سلطة، شوربة، وصحن مع بطاطا، يا لحم يا سمك. أنا اخترت سمك أبيض بالذات عشان أعيش الجو الأيسلندي الأصيل. آيسلندا عندها أشياء مرة كثيرة لازم تيجي تشوفوها. من أولها هذا الكهف، وهذا مايكل اللي حيكون القايد معنا اليوم. Michael, it's very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
You told me you know some Arabic.
Well, not much, but I can say Assalamu alaikum, ismi Mikhail. كيفك?
That's so cool. وعليكم السلام. أنا رها محرق. أنا good, الحمد لله. That's amazing.
تمام.
Thank you so much for your time. Can you give us just a brief information about what am I going to expect? What's the most important things about the cave? Because a lot of people back home, I'm sure, will be very curious.
So today we're going to visit the lava cave Vitgelmir in the west of Iceland. This is the largest lava cave we have in Iceland and one of the largest lava caves in the world. So you're going to see a huge cave with a lot of lava, delicate lava and rock formations inside. We also have some ice formations inside that form during the winter, and you're going to see a lot of beautiful colors from all the minerals in our volcanic rock.
Super excited about it. نصيحتي لما تروحوا على أي محل جديد لازم تدوروا على الأماكن المميزة زي كده، يعيشوا المغامرة بأكملها. ادخلوا أونلاين ولاقوا الأماكن اللي من جد تكون هذا سبيشل للبلد اللي انتوا رايحينها. في اتيكيت لدخول الكهف. من أهم الأشياء إنكم ما تمسكوا الأشياء اللي جوا لأنها ممكن تتكسر، وكمان لا تطلعوا أشياء من الجيب تقدر تدخل جوا وتتعزق ما بين الصخر. يلا تعالوا معي نكتشف الكهف. لا تنسوا تتأكدوا إنه ما عندكم مشاكل من الأماكن الضيقة لما تروحوا على كهوف، لأن في أماكن زي كده مرة ضيقة لازم تستحملوها. هذا الكهف يعتبر من أكثر الكهوف في حالة ممتازة، لأنه في 1992 كان كل شيء مقفل قبلها، بس بدأ يدخلوا آخر 20 سنة وكده. قبلها كان كومبليتلي مقفل، وعشان كده صار حال هذا الكهف رائع جدا، ومرة يفتخروا إن هذا الكهف في هذه الحالة الجيدة. اللي شايفينه قدامكم ستلاكتايت وستلاغمايت من الثلج. هذه الحالة ما هي دايما، الآن أحسن وقت تيجي تشوفوهم لأنه مرة طوال، فآخر الموسم يذوبوا ما تقدروا تشوفوهم. فحاليا هذا أطول طول للستلاكتايت والستلاغمايت اللي تقدر تتخيلوا تشوفوهم. حظي مرة حلو إني جيت أشوفهم في هذه الحالة. في خلال كام أسبوع ما حيكونوا موجودين. في كثير أشياء مرة مميزة في هذا الكهف، بس من أكثر الأشياء المميزة قد إيش تقدروا تشوفوا مرور السنين أو مرور ملايين من السنين في هذه الأماكن. السقف مثلا ألوان جدا مختلفة، وهذا السبب إنكم تقدروا تشوفوا قد إيش عمر هذا الكهف، بكم طبقة موجودة فيها. في معلومات مرة كثيرة تقدر تتعلموها في الكهف، ولأنه مرة كان ضلمة جوا ما كنت قادرة أصور، ولكن أنصحكم تيجوا تسووا هذا الإكسبيرينس. إذا انتوا زيي تحبوا التاريخ وتحبوا الأشياء الجيولوجية زي كده، هذا الكهف إذا ماست لازم تسووه، بس لا تنسوا تلبسوا شيء يدفي لأنه مرة برد جوا. قبل ما تسافروا على أي بلد ادخلوا أونلاين وشوفوا كيف الجو عشان تلبسوا الملابس الصحيحة. كل الناس واقفين هنا بيستنوا لأن كل 15 و 20 دقيقة يصير انفجار مائي. إن شاء الله يكون حظنا حلو نقدر نشوفه وأصور لكم إياه على الكاميرا. جمال أيسلندا خلاب ما شاء الله تبارك الله. فأكيد مو غريب إنه كثير من الأفلام والمسلسلات التلفزيونية تصورت هنا، ومن أشهرها مسلسل جيم اوف ثرونز اللي أنا مرة أحبه تصور في هذه المنطقة. مين الشاطر فيكم اللي يقدر يقول لي أي حلقة تصورت هنا؟ أيسلندا مليئة بالمفاجآت. أولها إنه في الخريطة مقاسها مرة صغير، ولكن في الحقيقة المساحات مرة واسعة، وغير الجمال الخلاب اللي اكتشفناه في كل ركن. وقصة دكتور أليكسندرا كمان كانت مفاجأة حلوة، لأنها لقت حل مبتكر لبقايا السمك عمري ما تخيلت يقدروا يسووه. إن شاء الله تعلمتوا شيء جديد وعجبتكم هذه المغامرة. معاكم رقم محرق، وأشوفكم على خير في الرحلة الجاية، رحلة رقم 435.